so late, man.
What?
The game is in Milwaukee. Why is it so late?
That is kind of weird. I guess because Philadelphia is east of... but yeah, it is pretty late.
Start the game a little earlier.
Yeah.
Anyway. Welcome, baseball fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report for today's Major League Baseball postseason report with myself, your host, Greg Mengelt, and my co-host, Paul Tipton. Paul, it's not looking good in the National League. It's not looking good overall. I think the Dodgers seem pretty predestined at this point. This
is very discouraging development just for even for people who may even be sympathetic to the Dodgers repeating as champions. The Phillies are playing them tough, but just not enough. Just don't have enough to get over the hill with them, and don't see any other teams unless you count the Toronto Blue Jays as giving them much competition right now. I don't think.
Brewers look pretty good.
I'm not sure. First of all, I'm surprised to hear your listeners will be surprised to hear you say that. I think you're being gradually giving up your reluctance to admit that they might.
No, I just know they'll fail when it matters.
Oh, okay. Yes, I can.
They're a good baseball team, though.
Well, they worked some counts and they hit the two 3-run homers tonight. So.
And their pitching is solid.
They look like Toronto in the first game, that's for sure. Hitting the ball all over the park.
And they certainly didn't panic going down 3-0 in the first inning and just responded right back. And
they responded in both games just when there are Cub fans in the park, and then you have that whole history of where we don't do well and nobody believes we're the number one seed in the National League. So maybe
they're right.
Maybe the Brewers will give the Dodgers some competition. You're still skeptical.
Yeah, very. I'd be surprised if they won 2 games in the NLCS, to be honest.
The Dodger bullpen looks flawed, but if they can plug it with starters, I guess they could work around their problems.
Sure seems like they should be able to. We talked about all year they underachieved in the regular season, but you knew with that roster they're going to be able to move things around, and they have the best roster, and it's probably not close.
And they get the hits when they need them. There are teams that have a lot of potential and can hit, but not clutch hits.
How good is Mookie Betts?
Oh my gosh, does that guy ever age? He's just having quite a run here. It's amazing. I thought the Reds just didn't know how to pitch to him, but it's quite impressive. Quite impressive.
All right, here's my question.
Okay.
Cubs, Phillies, or Yankees, which team most likely comes out of the hole?
I'm going to go with Yankees.
I think that's right.
If Carlos Rodon can somehow hold those guys in check, we'll find out in Game 4 if they can somehow win that game. We'll find out if Cam Schlittler was a one-time phenomenon or the real deal in Game 4. The difference between the Phillies is they're going to L.A. and the doubt has been planted. I feel like they needed to win that first game. Ahead 3-0 late in the game and couldn't hold it. And then
I thought they'll be fine. They'll win today.
Yes. And if they had won today, then it just would have been better for everybody.
It would have.
Would have been dramatic and could have gone either way. And it makes all those decisions that the managers have to make so dramatic and important and interesting, and they're just not as interesting in a Game 3 when one team's up 2. But just because the Phillies are on the road, otherwise I would say the Phillies. But I think the Yankees going back home have a possibility. The Cubs look to me against the Brewers the way most people on the podcast felt about them against the Padres. Yeah. It's like,
they look defeated and not good enough.
If you think the Reds were outmatched by the Dodgers in the wild card series. It puts some runs up on the board. And this just looks like, oh, here come the Brewers. And when Kyle Tucker's not hitting and Seiya Suzuki's not carrying the whole team on his shoulders, they can look pretty anemic.
Definitely say Yankees 1, Phillies 2, Cubs 3. I don't think any of them are doing it, though. That Blue Jays offense looks, whew.
Doesn't it?
How are you going to solve that?
It's all about Carlos Rodon if he can somehow. But man, oh man, Yankee fans are just stunned and flabbergasted about Max Fried. You know, you lose the first game and you get blown out, and you just think, well, that's okay. We got our ace.
That's right. And
the Blue Jays pitching, none of their pitching. Their whole pitching staff doesn't strike fear in the other team's heart. But man, if you're gonna slug like that, what difference does it make?
None.
So, now, we haven't talked about you're ready to shift to the Tigers and the Mariners.
We'll get there. I think that's the one that's the most interesting for sure.
Isn't it weird? If you had said which one's the most interesting, that is not necessarily the one that people would have leapt to mind for people.
No, but you could have made the argument it was the most toss-up series of the bunch. And it's looked like it so far. And good thing for Seattle, they won that game.
Going into it, I thought, maybe Detroit that had been wrung out by Cleveland wouldn't compete very well, but they look like they're right in it. And sadly, the Mariners don't look like the vaunted offense in the first two games. Anyway, I know Scooble's.
I was going to say,
Scooble will do that.
He'll do that to you.
Yeah, the Mariners in 11 innings, 2 runs in that first game. That was something. Yeah, yesterday.
They really struggled to hit the ball Sunday night as well, but they came through in the end, and I think they have a pretty significant advantage going forward with pitching. I like this matchup for the Mariners, and they're my hope in this.
You see them getting past the Blue Jays if the Blue Jays make it?
I wouldn't say that, but they're my hope.
Even if we agree that the Yankees have the best chance of coming back, smart money would not be laying a huge bet on that.
And I'm certainly no Phillies fan, but I like Kyle Schwarber a lot, and I was kind of hoping they would keep the Dodgers from winning it.
Just to come that short, even
twice.
I don't know if the viewers agree with me or not, but in that 9th inning when they got the tying run to third base, I just thought Trey Turner or anybody else is just not going to come through. It's just a weird feeling when you.
I kind of thought they were. I kind of thought, here it is. Here they're going to make this a series, and
if they just hadn't let in that 4th run, it might have been a lot more interesting game.
That was really the key.
That's the Dodgers for you. A little crack, all of a sudden, it's not a scoreless game anymore, and then you look up and you're down 4 runs. Now you got a mountain to climb.
See, tomorrow night will be a little earlier because they're starting the game in Detroit at 4, which we could be in bed already right now if it hadn't. They hadn't scheduled the game so late tonight. I don't understand. And then I guess they have to play Blue Jays and Yankees at 8 o'clock. Neither team's on the West. Both series are being played in the East Coast. So.
Yes, it's in the Eastern time zone. That's right. Yes. So, well.
They never consider us. This so West Coast dominated the sports media. I had a letter writing campaign to Monday Night Football when I was a child to please play the game before my bedtime.
A little earlier. Yes, it would. They do cost fans even in the World Series with the later starts. Yep, that's right.
Yep. Mike Hutzel said he wasn't staying up to watch the game tonight. So that's exactly right. He's a huge baseball fan.
Correct.
Okay, so Tuesday, 2 games. American League. Wednesday, we have 4 games. So it could very easily all be over in the next.
Yes, correct. 4 games potentially, but it could be a big letdown here. Yes.
I think the Mariners and Tigers are going 5 for sure.
Okay, well, that would be one of these series needs to go 5 games. Not just because we have something to talk about, but because it needs to be interesting.
When's the last time the Blue Jays were in the World Series?
1990.
Whoa. I remember that year very well. I just didn't realize it had been that long.
Yes, when you think about it, for those of us who were alive back then, that's 32 years, and that it doesn't seem like that. But yes, that's a long time to go.
What a series that was, too. No one expected it to be a great series. After the Phillies upset the Braves in the NLCS, everyone thought the Blue Jays would run through them, and it was anything but that. In fact, didn't they win a game 15 to 14?
15 to 13, yes. Very good.
13.
Very good. I was just thinking of that, yes. And who knows if Toronto advances that far, that could be another possible number for a World Series game.
I think people forget that Paul Molitor and Ricky Henderson were on that team.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that was.
Can I just say one more time how great Ricky Henderson was?
He was indeed. Yes, indeed.
If you could pick any leadoff hitter in history, you think you'd start right there.
If it goes to Toronto and Seattle, it'll be a team that hasn't been to the World Series in 32 years or a team that's never been to the World Series. So
that's why I brought it up. I was like, we could have a very interesting situation. And Detroit's been fairly recently, right? But they haven't won one since 84.
That is correct. That's right. Yes. Sparky Anderson. Yes.
Phillies, Dodgers. Oh, the Brewers have never won one, have they?
Nope.
So we could have the Brewers and Mariners.
Now you're getting everybody excited about somebody beating the Dodgers.
But we could have the Brewers and Mariners.
Okay. Again, I'm shocked to hear you say that just because you've been throwing the word pretenders around.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying. It's
possible.
It's possible.
Well, that's
Could
why.
Could you imagine if I told you in 1985 that one day we would have a Mariners-Brewers World Series? Would you?
How could you possibly have? Yes, exactly. That doesn't make sense. That wouldn't happen. That
would make no sense. And you could have an Astros-Brewers World Series, and you wouldn't have batted an eye, but you wouldn't have understood.
Exactly. So, well, there's lots of possibilities, and sadly, some of those possibilities have to end.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this possibility is going to end in Dodger blue, I believe.
Oh. Anything except a repeat of last year. That's from my point of view. So
I was with you once in Fairfax, Virginia during the Dodgers-Yankees World Series.
That was October. Yes, it was. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. 77 and 78.
81.
Oh, was it?
1981.
Oh my gosh, so you're too young for that. Yes, you're right. It was 81.
Yes, the year that you did not like.
That is correct. Yes, I remember. That was a 4-game the other way.
The Yankees won the first 2, and my next door neighbor said, "Don't worry, the Dodgers are winning the next 4."
And that's what
happened.
And
I kind of scoffed at him as an 8-year-old. Come on. 4 in a row against the Yankees, and it's exactly what they did.
Yes, and our old Terre Haute guy, Tommy John, had switched teams from the Dodgers to the Yankees by 81.
That is correct. And the thing I remember most about the World Series is him being very angry about being pulled out of Game 6.
That was an era in which you didn't see that very often.
No, you didn't.
Managers coming out to pull him, and he was definitely not happy. And then, of course, it didn't work out very well either.
It did not work out well at all. In fact, what was it? Bases loaded, and they pinch hit for him. And back then, they rotated between the American League and between the designated hitter and not designated hitter. Bob Lemon didn't know exactly how to handle that, and
well, it was a lot tougher when you have a key at bat and you have the pitcher coming up, and it's a lot easier now to manage. I guess that's why people are so critical when they yank these pitchers too early.
You have bases loaded, 2 outs, you pinch hit for him, and he pops up, and you lose your starting pitcher. Probably not a good idea, as Tommy John eloquently explained to Bob Lemon after he was pulled out of the game.
Yes, he had used some of those extended multisyllabic words.
Terre Haute words.
Yes, exactly. Yes, Terre Haute Gersmeyer.
He learned that at Gersmeyer. I'm sure David and Tipton had a huge influence.
Yes, I'm sure David might have.
Thank you so much to Paul. Always love doing those segments. And thank you for listening. Please share this podcast with a baseball fan in your life and help spread the word that the Central Indiana Sports Report is here talking about Central Indiana sports every single day. Thank you so much. Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.